I'll be talking about Veritas, one of at least 4 discontinued series by the infamous Joon. By the way, this goes without saying, but since Veritas will probably be the least popular series I'll cover in a long time, I'll say it anyway. Since I cover the entire series in one video, all of my videos contain spoilers. Also, I'm not Korean, so I'm more than likely going to butcher these names. First chapter. Veritas starts off with a pretty solid first chapter. My biggest gripe with the first chapter is that we don't know the MC's name, but we do at least get a solid grasp of the kind of person that the MC is. Joon does a good job of setting up the environment that the story will take place in. He first sets it up through dialogue, then he sets it up through circumstance. Remember the proxy technique I talked about in my intro video? Well, Joon uses it quite a lot here. The first chapter is heavy on setup, but it works rather well due to the way he ends the chapter, leaving the audience unable to drop the series, which is the best thing you could do as a writer. Overall, I think it was a good first chapter, a bit heavy on explanation, and most of all, there's no reason to not give us the MC's name, especially since we learn his masters. Continuity. There are some pretty big logical flaws. In fact, I'd go as far as to say that these logical flaws are big enough to be considered plot holes. Conflict of interest. The biggest culprit of these logical flaws is Gusong. He is siding with Rud, and at the same time knows what Veta is planning. Yet he only lets 1, maybe 2 people know about it. This causes a chain reaction. Hyomi doesn't let Red know, and if Lifewish was told, he doesn't say anything either. When he accepts Veta's challenge is yet another brain-melting decision considering he is involved in the plan to overthrow Veta. So there's no reason to accept this fight, on top of it literally sabotaging his own agenda. Joon justifies Gusong's actions through his infatuation of Veta, by Veta telling Gusong that he now has her undivided attention. Is this line really enough to persuade anyone of throwing away months of planning though? This line, even with the context of Veta and Gusong's past taken into consideration, isn't very provoking, and definitely not enough to make someone sabotage their friends and themselves. We also know that Gusong was ashamed of what he did to Honsei, which is the reason he wears the mask. Momentary amnesia. Hayato and Fire Dragon share similar goals, in that both want Veta removed from power. Hayato also challenges Veta directly. He's also the one to help in planning a way to defeat Veta with Rud and Honsei. If he wants Veta to be defeated and removed, why stop the fight between Fire Dragon and Veta? Fire Dragon is by far the best person to defeat Veta. He even knows how to nullify her techniques. So him stopping this fight from happening goes against his own interests. And Anicelli's murder. Only 2 people will know what really happened. Yuri and Guho. And Guho only finds out the truth after the fight. That right there is the key to understanding the problem with this scenario. If they, the people protecting Veta, were making plans so that Veta's presidency was not contested, why did they not come up with a plan to stop Anicelli? Anicelli was considered top 2 and was Veta's stylistic counter. Yet their plan was to send in Guho? They went as far as to sacrifice Gusong's best friend Honsei, but failed to make a plan for Anicelli. This does give Red a reason for hating Guho, but Guho should not be strong enough to fight Anicelli, let alone beat her. Yet he ends up killing her. Red has 2 ways of looking at this. Either Guho really did kill Anicelli, as unbelievable as that is, or there's something else at play, which he even hints at when talking to Honsei. So why the focus on Guho? He clearly was not the one that killed her. Red even suspects this himself. This also creates a bigger inconsistency. After Red beats Guho in their fight and lets him live, he says that he does not bully the weak. This, however, doesn't make any sense, since we later learned that Guho was not bullying Red. Red was the one initiating the fights out of anger for Anicelli's death, so Red has even less of a reason to actively hate Guho. He should be trying to unveil the truth of what happened to Anicelli. This in turn creates another inconsistency, since Gusong was the one to initiate the beating on Honsei, so he should be the prime suspect for Anichili's murder, yet he's a member of the Nine Dragons. Plot and pacing. There are actually many plots at work in the story, which I really enjoyed. Gangyeon simply trying to become stronger than anyone. Avenging his master is almost a side quest for him. Fire Dragon trying to resuscitate Yuri and get rid of Vera in the process. Vera, on the other hand, working on reverting everything that her elder sister and Fire Dragon did to the martial arts world, picking up where Lightning Tiger left off. Red and the Nine Dragons have a 4-year plan to dethrone Vera as head of the student council. It was a nice treat reading and seeing all of these plots unraveling at the same time, anticipating the time they would all collide. Joon does a really good job of developing something every chapter, whether it's character, plot, or even revealing more information about the magic system. His use of flashbacks to explain the magic system was really good, and I wish he would have used this technique a little bit more. Overall, the plot progression and pacing of Veritas is rather strong. Character depth. A winner's mentality. Gangyeon's entire mission is to become the best or strongest fighter. For the majority of the story, he doesn't even think about his master's passing. He sets his goal to become stronger than the killer of his master, not because he wants revenge, but because whoever killed his master would be stronger than the most powerful man he's met. When he finds out that his master's killer is in a comatose state, he is visibly disappointed. Not because he wants revenge, but because he wanted to test himself against that person. This is used to justify his actions in the finale when he resuscitates her, simply to get stronger. This also gives him a chance to test himself against both of the Liner sisters, which is only more proof that Gangyeon does not shy away from challenges, something that is essential in growing as a fighter. Gangyeon states multiple times throughout the story that he does not need a complicated reason for wanting to become stronger. He tells Guho that he's on a different level because he doesn't use hardships as motivation to become stronger. Gangyeon tells Guho that his reason and motivation for becoming stronger only rests on his own desire and will to get stronger. This might seem brash or even naive on the surface, but this has a very deep meaning, and that you should do things because you want to, and not because you are forced to by circumstance. This ideology is also found in the Bible. Gangyeon's entire character envelops the idea of becoming better through hard work and passion. The best moment that displays this is when he gets angry at another student for his laziness. A product of circumstance. Nature is inherited like eye color, and nurture is learned behavior such as social skills. A neglected child won't show much of an emotional connection to any of its family, since emotional connections are a learned behavior. This is part of the reason why some neglected and abused children develop RADs, become introverted, and show a lack of social skills, and as a result, a lack of emotion. Knowing this, we can start to understand and see things from Vera's perspective. Pair that with her skills and the hardships she has overcome, and we can start to understand why she is so prideful and looks down on everyone else. The only time someone genuinely helps her, she immediately grows an attachment to them, so much so that she thinks she's in love with that person. This helps in showing the lack of attention she was given as a child. Vera's goal is in part the same as Lightning Tiger's, although it isn't for the same or even the right reason. Her real objective is to spite her family, specifically her sister, by undoing everything she's done. Her motivations stem from her childhood and family relations. When she talks to her father, he constantly tells Vera how much more capable Yuri is, and there's a very clear tone of favoritism on his behalf. Herein lies the genius of these two characters. Gangyeon shows virtuous determination to become stronger and fulfill his Veritas, but in doing so, he undoes his master's work, which is rather selfish. And Vera, the tragic villain, who fell in love and is fulfilling her love's ambition, but in doing so, murders the innocent, something the Lightning Tiger would never do. So by the end of the series, Gangyeon betrays his master by helping Yuri awaken, and Vera betrays her sister by undoing all of her work. Closing thoughts. These conflicting, intertwined ideals and characters show some very great writing techniques by Joon. Though I wouldn't call Joon a great writer by any means, due to the many logical flaws shown by his other characters. Jun sacrifices the logic of his characters for plot twists. Honsai doing nothing to help Grangyeon, even though he has been training to counter Vera's attacks, because then we don't get Honsai's reveal. Gosong and Hyomi not telling Vera and the others what Vera was planning, because that would ruin the shock value of Vera killing everyone. Hayato stopping the fight between Fire Dragon and Vera, because that also ruins the plot progression of the story. Well, that does it for me. I'll be finishing Berserk the Golden Age around next week, and after that I was thinking maybe FMA, Evangelion, or Code Geass. We'll see what I land on. Anyway, thanks for watching. Later.